And this is what a fully upgraded suit looks like. It's a 6x8 completely open suit. Now I've been hard at work mastering some of my upgrades so that everything is done. I still have a few more that I never really got to do, and I was also moving around, and as you can see, they're color-coded, so I was min-maxing and kind of, lining them up on the side of my inventory here. So I was at work. These are lined up with yellow. These are lined up with purple. Now, I don't have definitive proof that this gives you some kind of bonus because it doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure this gives you a boost. I mean, they're lit up if they're next to each other, etc., etc. I'm pretty sure they give you a boost. But anyhow, another reason I was making so many jumps to the center is because every time I made a jump to another system and every time I came into another space station, I could upgrade my suit one more time. And this was really important to me because every time I'm traversing and exploring planets, my inventory was filling up like crazy. So to me, it was like, I'm just going to be jumping to a whole bunch of systems to max out my suit as soon as possible. Because the faster I do this, the faster I have a full suit, I can carry all these cool upgrades and I can have all these resources, and it's awesome. Especially when you consider this. This is all my ship can carry. It's not very big. I mean, it's bigger than probably what you're going to see on average, but I mean, when you consider how much my suit is carrying compared to how much my ship is carrying, it's a very good indication as to why I rushed to the center in the way that I did. It wasn't just to get to the center, it was because I was maximizing my suit inventory as I was doing it, which was very, very important. So all that said, we're going to jump now. We're going to go out into space. And I'm about to show you how I made it to the center. Now, I want to warn you right now, what I'm about to show you is a very big spoiler. It's something that I've intentionally kept hidden for a long time, but I realize that we're at the point now where enough copies exist in the wild. People are very soon going to be hitting this. So rather than have you see it with no context, I'm going to show you this. And yeah, this is pretty cool. Some of you may have already seen this. I don't know. But anyhow, here we go. So when you open up your planetary map, I intentionally position myself here to show you that. And just like you can see, I'm going to tease you a bit here. You're going to see this is where I am. And if we fly, where the heck is it? Towards the center, you're going to notice something pretty cool about how close I am. It actually stops. And that's because we're that close to the edge of the universe. If I wanted to, I could fly to the center right now, but I'm not going to because I refuse to spoil that. Anyhow, if we go back to where we are on the map, you're going to see something pretty cool with what I'm about to show you. Now, disclaimer, you will find these kind of early in the game. Again, this is a major spoiler, so if you don't want to see this, close the video right now. It is pretty cool. But there aren't just black holes. There are red dots on the map. And the red dots are hype because they're Atlas stations. And I just clicked this with no fuel on my hyperdrive. That was pretty trolly of me, huh? Alright, I do have warp fuel. There we go. Alright, let's try that again. Let's reinvigorate the hype. Okay, let's try that one more time. So, Atlas stations. Dun dun dun. Here we go. One-time game, don't crash. Now, the reason I'm showing you these is because this is going to make a lot of sense. What's going to happen when you see this is the explanation as to what I was trying to say about the Atlas stones. People were like, oh, the Atlas stones are so difficult to get. You know, the free warp fuel, all of this stuff. It's not necessarily true with what you're about to see. First thing you see when you load up is one of these bad boys. This is an Atlas station. This functions similar to a space station, but as you see, it's a little different once you get inside. And we're going to start reviewing, and I'm going to start explaining some stuff after I show you this. This is purely to explain how I got to the center so easily. So once you get inside, this is the fourth faction. The Atlas race exists, and every time you come in here, that giant ball can procedurally generate as another random variant. That screenshot I showed you, that was the joking Death Stranding ripoff, was actually when I came in one of these, it was just sitting right there as the Atlas for this particular, whatever. Now, when you come into one of these, there's going to be balls everywhere that you can go and you can pick up. And these actually teach you words if you run over them. So you can pop over here and, you know, this and that. There's a whole bunch of these, and it actually takes you a frustratingly long time to run around and grab all those, and we won't worry about that right now. Now, another cool thing when you come in here is as you cross these circles right here, these are going to upgrade your suit. But you'll notice when I cross this, we're going to get an error message. Now, the reason for that is because once you have all the possible upgrades for your suit, which I have, you know, the modules, I have the individual element defenses, all the stuff that you see built. Once you have everything, this starts erroring you, and it just starts saying, nope, sorry, you can't do it. So that's how you know that you've reached their maximum recipes. Now, I've had this happen for my multi-tool, my ship, and my suit, and we'll talk about that later, but that's it. Now, here's the thing. When you walk into one of these, you see these two black balls right here? Check this out. That's fuel, and that's fuel. It's that simple. And then when you come walking up to this thing and you talk to it, it's going to give you a message. Now, you have ranks in this game based on your accolades, which if you haven't seen, I'll show you in a second. I should have showed you that first. But when you talk to this sucker, it gives you a little piece of lore. And as you progress through the game, it's kind of neat. They talk a lot about how they created the galaxy. They talk about how you are the traveler or a major part of the galaxy. You know, you're a big part of the universe in the lore of this game. And when you accept it every single time, accept the power of the Atlas, it flows through me. He said, I already have the blueprint, but then look at this. Atlas Stone given. So that's it. That's how you do it. You come to one of these Atlas stations, you get 2 free fuel, you talk to the big ball, it gives you free Atlas Stone, and that Atlas Stone sells for a ton of money. So what I did, once I get out into space, I'll show you. If I can get in my ship. So the basic thing is black holes are in the game, as you saw. And I can't actually use a black hole right now. So I'll teach you that in a second. And this is actually a game-breaking bug, so pay close attention, okay? Once you're in space, there are black holes. Now, if you highlight this, it tells you you are 1128.7 light years from the center. Now, if I find a black hole, I don't know. It could be anywhere. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can fly to any one of these planets. Here's one. So here's a black hole. Now, if I flew to this and I punched through the black... That's not a black hole. Where the hell to go? Wait, yes, it is a black hole. What am I doing? Black hole, yeah. So if I flew to the black hole, what black holes are is they're glorified warp jumps. Every time you go through one, it jumps you something like 700 light years towards the center. And the reason it was so easy to get to the center is I literally would just jump to an Atlas station, grab the 2 free warp fuels, then jump to a black hole, jump about 700 meters towards the center, and then I was that much closer. And then when I landed, I would just look for another Atlas station, grab 2 more warp fuels, rinse, repeat, go to the black hole, you know, and that was all it took. And because they give you so much free fuel, and because I could easily find enough of these within proximity that I could go from one to the other, it's a really simple process if you want to get to the center. Now, as you saw with the Atlas station, there is no way that is an exploit. That is clearly by design. Those were not happenstance in being there. They want you to give the Atlas stones. They want you to... 7 meters, sorry. I'm not paying attention, honestly. I'm trying to focus on the bigger picture, the little things. Light years, you know what I meant, light years. Anyhow, sorry. It's clearly something that they've decided to do, and it's, you know, just a design decision, I think. And I don't really care about the jumping of the distance. The thing about the Atlas stones is it kind of bothers me that they sell for so much because it jeopardizes the trade market, which I think is an important part of the game. So that's that. That's all it was to it. That's how you do it. You jump to these Atlas stations, and then you jump to the black hole, and that's how you get to the middle. So it's not an exploit. It's not a bug. Now you understand how it works completely, and let's hope they fix it. Now, while I finish my review of the game, I'm going to jump to this planet because it looks really cool. We're going to explore a random planet. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little excited that's a water planet. And now I'm going to try to actually explain how I feel about the game. Now, one of the biggest reasons I've been a little reluctant to try to explain the game in a review sense is because my fear is people are going to overreact to my general feel of how this game... Oh, this planet looks awesome. There's a lot of water here. Maybe we can find a big shark. But I think this game is going to surprise people in that, oh wow, and it's plants too. It's not exactly the game a lot of us thought it was going to be. And when I say that, what I mean by that is, coming into it, we knew the game was a planet exploration sim. And we also knew that it was a trade simulator, and that it had space combat, and that there was ground combat and all this other stuff. And I think a lot of us started getting delusions of grandeur and thinking that the game was going to be super fleshed out in every single one of those areas. That we were going to have this really complex Half-Life type shooter mixed with like an Elite Dangerous space combat, also mixed with a planet simulator and all this other fancy stuff combined.